Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Oh my goodness. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another after show for The Prisoner here on AfterBuzz TV. If you haven't already done so, do so. Subscribe. I know it's not the way of The Prisoner, but subscribe on youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. Subscribe on iTunes, or heck, subscribe on SoundCloud. However you want to get us, it's free $99.
Heck! Free for all.
Free for all!
It is
and that's
free
the
for
episode
all.
we're doing. I am joined alongside Rah Rah Rah! Steph Z.
Hey guys, I'm Steph Z.
And Meredith Placco.
Hi everyone, I'm just Meredith Placco. I'm boring.
She's not boring. She just likes to appear boring.
It's just early.
We're here early because of you.
I know. Thank you guys for accommodating me. Just saying.
All right, so we've had a great couple past episodes. We're building upon one builds upon the next, and so today, of course, we're talking about Free for All, the episode all about elections. We're stacking.
I'm building upon everything.
There you go. Very symbolic here in the studio.
We're very
today.
creative.
Let's start with this overall thoughts of the episode. And by the way, as you guys know, this is an episode discussion. We try to keep it as spoiler-free as possible, but there may be things that slip because Meredith and I have seen every single episode twice over, three times probably over. Steph is the newcomer to the panel.
That is me, the newbie.
But hey, she's done well so far. We've kept her.
Thanks. I made the cut, didn't I? I made the team. I have a number. No. I really liked this episode. I thought there was so much symbolism in this episode. There's so much going on. And I know we were talking about how this episode was originally maybe supposed to be the second one. Do we not want to get there yet?
in the recommended order, it's second one.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
Okay.
I don't buy it.
Here's why for me I can buy it is because the prisoner, number 6, is still very angry.
Oh, that's
you know?
Right, but in the first episode, he was so resistant, and so, like, why am I here? What's happening? Never would his next thing be like, I'm going to run for some kind of office here.
Yeah, but that's him trying to get into the system to defeat the system. That's still early.
But I believe he would try and beat the system and go
like
around
just
the system.
pound the system into the ground. That's how he started.
Right. Well, he tried to kind of go around the system. He tried
yeah.
to escape the system and not be part of the system. I don't know. I don't believe in my watching that he would actually try and become part of the system to outsmart the system first. I feel like he would go around first and be like, I don't want any part of this. I'm smarter than this thing as a whole, so I'm going to get away this way rather than like, okay, clearly I've failed. Now let me see if there's a new way if I can get in to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why the debate still rages on to this day.
Yeah.
I know. I kind of understand why now.
There you go. Well, this was one of the episodes that McGoohan, not literally one of, but he wrote 2 episodes using his real name, 5 overall where he used the pseudonym Patty Fitz. So this is one of the episodes that he fully wrote. Originally, he directed it also, and it was supposed to be him and Don Chaffee kind of sharing directorial duties. But when they got to the interior scenes, him and Patrick McGoohan and Chaffee at around this time had a falling out. Seems to be a strong premise.
Right.
And the DP, Brendan J. Stafford, did a lot of the co-directing on the interior scenes.
So he got a promotion.
Yes,
Pretty much.
A lot of people cite this episode as the time that Patrick McGoohan really started to take creative control over the show, even though it's the 4th to air. It's a little bit later in the filming process. And this Meredith laughed when she saw this. A lot of the extras right there were Welsh because we're up in Port Marion, and they kept saying 6 for 2. but it sounded like sex for 2.
Yeah, it did.
Well, I mean, there was a little moment there with number 2, number 6, and 58 that I was like, they're implying something when she was brought over, like, oh, she's here to service your needs within reason.
Yeah,
That was very funny.
Yeah.
Especially for the time when you think about it. And especially how McGoohan's so like, no sex, no interpersonal relationships with my character. And they just keep like, no, here, really, have her.
I want to see number 6 interact with the characters from Mad Men.
Oh my God.
That would be amazing.
Anyway, that's a parody you
another
guys should
show.
make. You guys should do that. The first time this episode aired, it was during Britain's election period, and so we'll kind of talk about the election of that in a little while. And it was around the time that political satires were kind of taking off. The biggest one was the week that was. No, that was a British political satire. I don't know quite what was happening in America in terms of political satire. Obviously, the raging 60s.
I mean, political satire has kind of been around since there was politics, but I think publications were a little less burned by the governments. Like, we kind of had this whole freedom of speech going on, so you saw a lot more weeklies coming out where people would do not just cartoons, but whole magazines based on this. And especially in America in the 60s, it was a very free thought time. There was a lot of criticism of Kennedy and Nixon going on. So
I feel like there's always been criticism of the government, though.
Oh, always.
And I almost do. I feel like even though we might feel at this day and age it is more free because we can tweet and we can do all this stuff about, the government, and we can get our opinions voiced. I feel like you're right. It was more free then to discuss a feeling, like an anti-government feeling.
Well, I think people 40 years ago were a little bit more open to having discussions, where now it's like people just, if you don't agree with them, they shut you down. Like, I mean, there's always been those types, but again, with the whole internet making everything accessible to us, we've also lost some of our humanity that we don't learn to listen. We don't listen to other people. We don't respect their opinion, even if they're wrong.
I will certainly break down the episode, but what comes to mind too, number one, I'm going to learn a lot about your political views. Number two,
yes.
Speaking of the Twitter thing that Steph's talking about, you put your thoughts out there, but it's almost like the council meeting where everyone else is just stationary of like, okay, so you said that.
Yeah.
You can get as mad as you want, but for the most part, I would argue that yes, you'll get retweets and likes and comments and blah blah, but the majority of the people will never see your tweet and not respond to it.
Right, but you said you think less people are seeing it than back in the day. But like my point being that most of these, cartoons and political stuff that was back in the days, like now more people will see them because they're more accessible to Twitter. Like you can follow all the news. So I actually think that like you're talking about my personal, like our personal opinions, people won't hear. I don't.
But there's more voices cluttering. Back in the day, you only had a few people who had access to those,
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, now it's like you can't turn the noise off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think,
which is actually crazy. I don't know if you guys saw, like, current in the news today, like, this is such a tangent, but I'll make it really small, about Twitter and stuff, how, like, they connected Twitter, like, shut down over, like, 2,000 ISIS accounts, like, going back to government terrorism. Like, the power of that is just, all over. Anyway.
No, absolutely, and we'll talk about free elections and things like that.
Yeah.
So let's dive into the episode, and then we'll kind of open it up from there, right? So we get the standard opening, quote unquote, and then right off the top, we're talking, the phone rings. Who are you? Is this number 6? That what do you want? And that's why for me,
so antagonistic.
Absolutely, and the mountain can come to Muhammad.
And then he's at the door.
Yeah. The mountain came.
Yeah.
He was there. He was waiting the entire time.
Yeah, I feel like he was. A lot of unexplainable stuff. A lot of, certainly with the tally-ho, but here he is. And
yeah.
We'll get to
Freaking
that.
tally ho, man. All right, we'll get to it.
We'll get to the tally ho.
Oh, man.
But we open up with nice international cuisine. Everyone likes to wine and dine the prisoner.
I know.
But we get the introduction of number 58 right off the bat. We get number 2 and we get number 6.
They like to
And
wine
then-
and dine them so they can poison them. Do what they want
I
to
know,
do. It's not
exactly.
like they're taking him out for this great meal and then he gets to like go on his way. It's like,
Yeah, I wouldn't trust anything that's going
Yeah.
on there.
I'd be like losing pounds left and
Yeah.
right. I'd be like, I'm not going to eat.
So what constitutes? We could go back to the international versus French and this and that.
Oh, I
like,
love
what
it. They-
constitutes as like international cuisine? Like it's toast.
Yeah, but he's like, oh, what cuisine? International? Like, we're not going to specify. Just it's international. It's vaguely not what you're used to. But I'm pretty sure people eat toast, or do they
And
just
marmalade.
eat crumpets? Maybe they just eat crumpets.
Marmalade's just the jam, right? I'm not
Yeah,
crazy.
It's like
Marmalade
a,
is-
like
yeah.
a jelly jam type thing.
Okay. Well, there you go. I just they always try. And but was this part of the whole like? I don't know. We never touched upon whether or not the food was poisoned in any sort of way, but you
I
could be
don't-
right in some fashion.
I don't know.
Maybe that's why he was so susceptible to doing what he did.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think so,
I
but-
don't. Maybe it's a stretch in this one, but we see, he does, get pretty much every time he drinks or does something. They're messing with it. They're changing his mind almost every episode.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're not just whining and dining him as if like we all went out to dinner and like had a drink.
Yeah, there's a purpose there. Well,
Yeah.
as number 2 explains, every 12 months we have to go through this process of voting, right? And so then of course number 2 is the unanimous candidate, right? We see billboards everywhere of number 2. Vote for number 2. And how are you going to vote for number 2 if there is no one else to vote for? And he says, you're the type of candidate we need. And I feel like I definitely want to talk about kind of radical ideas, how they become commonplace, but you just need someone to rile other people up just to get them going and make it an event.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's even, in our current election system, you need the radicals, whichever side you want to lean on, to kind of make the normal people seem all the more normal, even if some of their ideas are outdated or out of, like a little bit out there. Because when you have, like, say, the Tea Partiers, it makes the regular GOP look a little bit more not so outdated.
Yeah. I think my problem with the whole election as we know it today is this. We have a society that votes with their heart more so than their head. And what I mean by that is you've got 2 candidates, because usually, there's always like 3, maybe 4.
Let's be honest, it's
There's
2.
50. There's 50.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
but
but I think
there's only 2 that...
I know. There's
2.
only 2 in
Right.
the actual running, but
Right.
there's 50 candidates.
Right, so follow me here. In that, and I know this number that I'm going to say isn't the correct number. I'm just, hypothetically speaking, there's 2 candidates, there's 10 issues that you can read, and they voice their opinion on what they believe on each issue. Whichever one issue resonates most with a person is who they're going to vote for, which is a broken system, okay? Why do we not live in a world where if, for example, Obama, and I'm not saying this is what it is, so don't pick apart that. I'm saying, for example, if in our last election, Obama had a better plan for healthcare, Obama and his people run the frickin' healthcare. If Mitt Romney had a better plan to figure out the budget, they ran the budget. Why do we not vote on each thing that, like, we pick one person to do everything, even though that one person might not have the best plan for everything?
Well,
And we don't even pick.
Because the truth is we don't. Like, our vote
It's crazy.
as a whole doesn't matter because the Electoral College comes in and picks what we want. So, I will say this, like, flat out. I go out, I vote, even though I know the system's broken. I still do
I
it
vote
because
too.
I believe that at least I have that opportunity. But yeah, at the end of the day, what I want isn't being reflected in the House or the Congress or the Senate or anywhere like in Washington or locally, because they just don't care. They're going to do what they want. And And that's what I kind of think the whole freaking episode
It's exactly
shoves
that.
in our face is, and I wonder if that's almost Britain's criticism of the American election style.
It's possible because it's literally not only does it shove in our face that they're going to do what they want, it shoves in our face that they feed us to think that we are actually doing it.
Yeah.
Which is, gets me so mad.
I mean, that was one of the themes, no one knows where the power lies, but because true power is ultimately hidden. I think it's to me, it's, yes, it absolutely, the great part about this episode is that you can find ties to any government, especially, that claims
because
to be
they're kind of
democratically
broken.
elected.
Yeah.
Certainly, here's the thing: Pat McGoohan was going after the British government. There's no, I don't think that's any big secret. For me, I feel like if you're gonna vote, this is my stance on it. If you're gonna vote for the guy who has the most solutions for anything, who's solution oriented, rather than picking apart of this is wrong with this and this is wrong. Like, okay, any one of us could sit there.
But they're all lying to you. They're all going to say they have a solution for everything.
And then also on top of it, even if they have the solutions, because how the bipartisanism works is that Obama, for instance, could have some great ideas, but the Republicans, just based on the fact that he is, and I'm going to say it because he is a black man in office, they won't let it get through. Like that is, I mean, I've worked in traditional news for 15 years now. I've seen a lot of the behind the scenes, and when it really comes down to is you have people in power who don't agree with, not even on the issues, but fundamentally don't agree with the person in power, and they're going to shoot all of it down. Like, it's so beyond broken that they vote based on prejudices. And so even if they have great, amazing ideas, like, solutions for everything, they might not be the best ideas, but, take the healthcare system we have. It's not the best, but it's something better than we had before. But people are just picking it apart and breaking it down, not because they want to give it a shot, but because of who voiced it.
Well, right. And then that's just going to make them look bad. It's all about who looks good, who looks bad, and money. Mm-hmm. And it's really sad. And you know what? Honestly, we can all sit here and criticize anything. Yeah. I'm super proud to be an American and in this country, and I have a lot of freedoms that a lot of people fought for, and I'm not deluded that does not exist. So I just want to put that out there. But within that, it's also very apparent that the government and the media and all this together puts kind of a blanket on it so that you won't think out of the box, because we're all, in a way, we want the government to control us, in a way. Because
it's safe. It's like being children. It's
like
you
the
have
village.
Like the village. You have when you have that structure, you feel safe within that structure, and you don't have to think too much.
That's
or try
what the
too
village
hard.
did, right? So kind of.
Sorry, we're going to be very political this episode, everyone.
Absolutely. But we mentioned the tally-ho, right? So let's kind of skip a little bit ahead to the tally-ho,
yes,
right?
Let's please talk about media and journalism in the village.
So, I'll start it on a very granular level. When the article comes out, number 6 speaks his mind. It's almost like you ever see a parent and they're talking to a child of like, don't you want to go to Disneyland? The kid's never been to Disneyland. He doesn't know if he wants to go to Disneyland. You want to go to Disneyland, don't you? And it's like the parent knows better than the child. And so even though number 6 is being treated like a child, because even though he's saying no comment, no, here's what you really mean. And we get the great article, number 6 speaks his mind.
Well, it's not even so much a parent speaking for the child so much as it's a commentary on how the media just puts words in people's mouths. Like, even if you say no comment, we're going to find a comment and we're going to put it there. Like, that's our job, unfortunately. Yep.
Unless you're Marshawn Lynch, the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, especially...
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Especially British media, because it's owned by the government versus the privatized media we have here in America. For good or bad, you do see a lot of insertion.
But that's
put in
actually
there.
shocking to me in a sense, because I feel like, I've spent a lot of time in London. My dad lived there for 16 years. So I feel like the news there reported somehow, and I can be wrong, is more legit to what happened rather than here. And you would think that the government would be more hold back more information. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you get more in-depth news coverage there on what's going on in the world, rather than here you just get the killing, the rape, the burglary, like the instilled fear.
But it's
tactic.
a matter of how many episodes have we talked about, right? And we might as well, we'll segue back into some of the stuff that we missed. But with the truth test, right? We're all here to be truthful. You see, I'm truthful with you. You're truthful with me. And therefore, we can have an honest dialogue. And so by having, quote, these in-depth news items, how, you're quote unquote feeding the truth. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're truthful with me. No, you're not.
No, I'm not saying it's more truthful. I'm saying they give more information about what's going on in the world.
Yeah, but that's
than like a
But
local,
what I'm saying, it's a
Fox
false.
5.
It's a falsified view of it, because just because they give you more doesn't mean you are getting more.
Right, but if you have more information from a couple of different stations, then you have more information to cipher through to see what, like, the more information you're given, I feel like the more you read and stuff, you can decide for yourself kind of what you believe, rather than just the same instill fear factor that we do here.
But what they do in the Village is almost very American in their media coverage, is that they do just spoon feed the things that people want to hear, and it's because here in America we just want the killings, we want the political bias, we want our E-Block happy kitten puppy rescue stories. We want that stuff fed to us. We don't really ask for more as a collective. Obviously, everyone's different. There are different levels of people who go out and seek their own news. But of course, in Britain, they're given a lot more of a full, broader story because that's what the audience wants. So
Right.
I feel like in many ways, maybe Britain in the 60s, their culture was very much like our modern American culture and how they wanted their media spoon-fed to them. But it's very, very much the Tally-Ho is just giving them what they want, the happy face, here's your, here's what you should think, here's what you should believe. Their media in Tally-Ho is way more like modern day American journalism.
Here's what I've noticed about Europe, right? And I think this episode captured it quite well. This is the only episode that we see a pub. And I think there's a reason for it, right? In Europe, from my experience, a lot of this news stuff or politics, when you're done with it in whatever way, shape, or form, you talk about it with friends at a pub. And that's the forum to have this discussion. And in America, I feel like people don't go to pubs and talk politics on a
isn't that
regular
one of the
basis.
things? Don't talk about religion, politics.
Oh, I love talking about
I know,
that.
so do I. But that's
love it.
that
No, you
weird
don't.
general rule that people say, don't talk about these things, and I'm like, why? That's what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
want to
it's
talk about
true.
Kim Kardashian.
But that's what I'm saying. Yeah, most people want to talk about, what do you do?
Yeah.
Who'd you meet? But I feel like, too, I mean, I feel like we have to also say that is a product of our environment. We live in Los Angeles, where a lot of this stuff...
Oh, but the rest of the country's like
There's
this.
no
Right,
way.
but when I'm in New York, I'll go to my, 9 times out of 10, I'll have a, thought-provoked conversation with my friends.
But New York is its own beautiful country. Spend some time in the South. They love their Honey Boo Boo, and they love their NASCAR, and they also, the few politics it'll be very one-sided, and they don't want to hear your opinions. So it's not just an LA mentality. I think it's an American
I just
mentality.
think it's yes, but I feel like because we're here, it's a little more. But I mean, yeah,
Absolutely, but what I'm saying is the act of going to a pub and that your number one thing is just talk politics. I see it a lot in Europe.
Well, I think
that's the form.
Europe's an older country. They have history that reaches back thousands of years with different governments, different people ruling over them. They have a history that Americans don't have.
and their people are curious to know that history.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of I feel like
I feel like they're fearful if nothing else. I mean, how to Meredith's point, how many years of just oppression and just war, whereas we've been in wars and things like that, but no one's like knocking down New York City every week like they did with the bombings of London.
right.
Yeah, in my memory, there's only been one attack on American soil, and that wasn't a legitimate government that was terrorists. I mean, and you can even outside of maybe some of the smaller wars of independence, our own Civil War, the only other real attack on American soil was Japan with Pearl Harbor. I mean, we as a country have been very fortunate that we haven't had to deal with a lot of that. And Britain, with a lot of my godparents in their own memory, they can remember the bombings from Germany in World War II. And I think other countries just, they do. They have almost a sense of fear that we have to keep knowing more and getting better because.
So but then are those, sorry, that just takes me to so then is it because they live in fear that they want to know this stuff? Like I think it's a very awesome thing that we haven't had that here on American soil. So is it because we haven't been scared you know what I mean? That the natural way to think would be caught up in all this honey boo boo crap.
I
You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to, you know what I mean?
no,
Like it seems
wouldn't
like
say they live
we're
in-
creating a more free place for people to think. And I would like to think that creating a free place, people would think about more knowledgeable or thought-provoking things than a lot of the stuff we do.
Well, ideally in sci-fi, when you have a society where there's no war, there's no famine, there's no disease, everyone's enlightened, everyone is better. But then you have the opposite where you kind of like Wall-E, where they're all just like glued watching asinine programming, being spoon-fed their Slurpees. I feel like America is more the Wall-E future versus like the high sci-fi Star Trek type.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I think with Europe specifically is I wouldn't say maybe they live in fear, but maybe there's that the idea that there's a collective memory that so they say it in animals that they have these instincts that are passed down through generations when they're born. I wonder if humans have something similar, that while they themselves might not have experienced a great war or a great controversy, it's there, it's prevalent in the backs of their mind, and that's why
that would explain a lot of racism and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're so off track. I'm so
No, no.
sorry.
We'll get the train back on the
Here's
track.
the thing,
But it's
Yeah.
great that this is
Yeah.
a show that 45 years later provokes these type of conversations. I mean, it all really, even though we're off track a little bit, like we got there from this episode.
Here's the thing, in the best of ways, this episode is, for the most part, it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
We talked about that idea, and so for the most part, it is about elections, and that's what it's going to provoke. One kind of quick trivia bit before we dive more into elections. The photo, vote for number 6, right? The one that we have and see, that's as soon as he campaigns to be number 2. The one that comes up, it's a photo from Danger Man, right? They're, again, further confusing the Danger Man.
Oh,
Danger Man.
it's not about Danger Man. Come on, Patrick, come on.
Here's the thing. The reason why it's almost like one of those things, due to legal reasons, we cannot say Danger Man, otherwise we owe royalty to the creator of Danger Man. And that's whether or not like McGoohan wanted this to be Danger Man or not, we can argue it's definitely, I think the real reason is because of the royalties.
Yeah.
Ralph Smart was going to collect on this till the day he was dead, and it was like, nope, we can't have that.
My thing, and maybe I saw this wrong watching the episode, but the thing that struck me that was the craziest thing about this episode is it was almost like, and it was, I'm sure, like number 2 knew he was going to talk number 6 into it because the poster was just made as soon as he said he was in.
Well, I think so this is going back to the whole media thing. In media, especially during elections, we always have 2 headlines going before published because you never know, like especially on election night, you never know how
Sports
it's gonna.
stuff too,
yeah, sports is so you always have all that stuff in the can. It's already ready to go. So the moment something drops, you can have it right out there. And again, 40 years ago, that's the machine is still the same. They were ready. They were like, hey, if he says yes, we're ready to roll on this. Let's get this out in front of the public. And I just got like, that was so smart to me. I was like, man, it just hit way too close to home.
It was smart, but to me it was almost creepy. It was like they knew.
Yeah.
And same thing with the paper. It was like as soon as he was done speaking, the paper was there. Done.
Printing it out right there, right in front of everyone.
It's just crazy.
Well, that's, I think for me, all of these things, people just love events.
Yeah.
We need our events, and this is, whatever you want to think of it, this isn't the elections. I mean, we're in election year ourselves. This is going to be a big event.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
How much? And speaking of events, this is gonna cost.
Yeah. Well, and okay, before we get into the cost thing, one thing that creeped me out with this is how readily everyone was able to, they switched sides. Like the moment, like it was all like 2, 2, 2, we want 2, and then it was 6 for 2, 6 for 2, like with maybe like 10 stragglers still on 2 side. Like what's the word I'm trying to say? Speed, the ferocity,
Velocity?
Velocity at which people switch to the other side was just it was remarkable. I was like, come on, guys, like you just flipped like that, like a switch.
It was almost
Because
like they
they're
were
mindless.
told to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they were told to do rah 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 and clap
Yeah.
and this and that, like literally almost like you would see at a TV production, like applause,
Yeah.
Applause
now.
now, yeah.
Just like, it's a great commentary on the real election system.
Yeah.
I mean, because I can imagine, right? We have the debates here, and I can imagine at that TV studio of like people just getting told to applause when a good point is made by any candidate or whatever. It's not like, you know,
it's not like that. By the way, I do want to point out, in American system, we don't actually. I've been to a couple of the town hall and the debates. We don't actually have like applaud here, applaud there. I will say, and it's a really interesting screening process as to who can get in. So I do just a little insider information.
If politics were more like wrestling, I feel like we would be better off. Because wrestling fans have no problem telling their own feelings.
Right, but if you
issues.
think about it, politics almost is like wrestling. It's a bunch of men playing with their toys who has to have more money and win the game.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
It's all about the money.
It's all about the money. And it's not even about the money. It's about the greed.
Yeah.
It's about so far beyond the money. And you know what? And I get it. Like, it's a system. Like we've mentioned, we are one of the freest countries. Like, we, you know, clearly we're doing something right, maybe. I don't know what that word right or correct means, but there are a lot of people here. There are a lot of happy people here. There's a lot of opportunity here. But at the end of the day, it all comes back to money and greed.
You know what's it's ironic because we're doing this March 2015, right? And there's the great movie Ides of March. That kind of definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen it, because it's all about the American kind of elections and what goes on in March.
Yeah. Wow. Well, so just to kind of make it a little more relevant, I'm sorry, I'm not like 100% sure on the name here, but so if we all know, like, Netanyahu just spoke in New York at this big political, was it New York or DC? Sorry. He just spoke, and then directly after Netanyahu spoke, which by the way was very controversial to the Democrats, the Republicans were very pleased with what he had to say. There was a Republican candidate who's has his exploratory commission, and this is where I don't remember who it was specifically, on Monday night went ahead and did a $1,000 a head, like, dinner talk thing to start pulling in the campaign money. Like, right, like, using this Netanyahu speech, he decided to just jump on that and use that to his advantage to start pulling in money so he can start doing his whole, like, I want to be president. And this is how our political system works, based on donations from individuals and big companies, because they've kind of shaved off a lot of the rules about how much you can donate. And it's just, to me, it's like, whoever acquires the most amount of money is the one who gets the airtime, who gets the face out there. And to me, like, that's the ultimate broken system in that, and they show that in this episode, is that, you know, we put him out there on print, we put him out there in whatever media we can. Let's shove number 6's face out for everyone to see, and then they're going to vote for him.
Right. You're so correct in saying our system is broken. Like, in my mind, the way that it should work is that you have to somehow pass a certain amount of tests.
Like, an intelligent test would be nice, too.
An IQ test would be freaking awesome.
We'll talk about the test
then, right. And then like, there should be no monies. Like, you have the certain amount of appearance times on every news station, and you debate. Like, what is it? I mean, like, same thing with Obama. Like, I've heard at least, how many times has Obama been to LA and the roads are shut down, you can't drive anywhere?
And that's how people talk about, by the way.
Business of him having these charity dinners where people have to pay $10,000 to go have dinner with, you know, Obama or Michelle.
Hands down, I don't think you should be allowed to buy advertising if you're running for office. I think there should be 6 on-air debates that are accessible to everyone. Put them online, put them, you know, download on network television so you don't have to pay for cable to watch.
Not even that. I mean, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, they should debate the talking points. And I don't want to get a robocall. I don't want to see a billboard. I don't want mailers. Like, I'm not going to pick my candidate based on how much I'm seeing their face. I want to know what they're saying. Give me their talking points. Give me their opinions. Give me their views, and then I will vote based on that.
Right, but one thing that I actually do slightly kind of disagree is I agree with you in everything, except I think each candidate should be given a certain amount of the same money. Say they get $100,000. And in that, we see who's the smartest. So are they going to do a Twitter campaign? Are they going to do billboards or advertising? How are they going to make it so that they can reach the person so that we feel like they know how to have that communication where we feel like we're a part of our government? I feel they get the same amount, and then they get to choose.
It should be like Shark Tank.
How so?
That we give them money, and then, you know.
Yeah. Well,
But you get it. You get the right.
I get what
get
you're
that.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both
No.
cover Shark Tank. That's
Oh,
funny.
okay.
I was like, how? Yeah.
Well, yeah, but like we give them the opportunity. I think that's a freaking great. Yes, I'm also okay with that.
Yeah, just because, you know, it is, I think, important how we're going to see, you know, in this day and age, like how you're going to feel like you're somewhat in touch with your government. You want to know what they're going to do.
Yeah. So kind of shifting gears slightly. No, this
Back
still
to the show.
No, this still ties right. Because
Yeah, it
one of the most sort of important things is okay, who's your running mate, right? Mm-hmm. And who's your quote unquote number 2? In this case, for number 6, his number 2. I'm gonna use all these puns. Is number 58. Right, and so how they couldn't be more seemingly different. Here's a woman whose language was completely made up by McGoohan. So it's not even like talk about international; it just doesn't even exist. And she's of absolute no use to him whatsoever. But she's assigned to him to do any service within reason. And
I am so like stuck on all these numbers. Like I think the Fibonacci sequence, like I'm thinking all these math things. I want to know why 58. I want to know why 130, 130B. Like I want to know. I want to know. Do you guys know? Is there
I
a
love
reason?
the one.
know.
No, I love the 130B though. I was kind of like, man, the heat is just. It's just kind of like you're both the same person, you know?
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
I'm 130. This is 130B. All he's gonna do is take pictures and document what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
So he's not really at his
well,
own
you
number.
know, to take that even further, right? So kind of right after we meet number 58, who's assigned to him and who starts learning, you know, there's a great picture of her be seeing you, right?
Yeah.
I found that funny. She, again, within reason, she is absolutely atrocious and has no use for him.
No.
By design, I feel
Yeah.
like ultimately, knowing what we know. And we go to the council meeting where he just screams and yells, and there's number 2 is at the head of this. And, you know, you wouldn't pick this up necessarily right away, but through research, the rest of the people are 2A through 2Z, not consecutive. So it's a couple of the letters are missing from the 2 whatever. And I don't know exactly which ones, but, you know, maybe there's a rhyme and reason why.
Yeah.
There's not all the letters of the alphabet there.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
know. Is it like all those different personalities?
It could be. I mean, certainly. I mean, it shows
All this
that
consciousness, like
we have
different
doppelgangers
consciousness?
out there.
Yeah.
Not even that, but it's like, you know, you have like Phil, you've got work Phil, you've got gym Phil, you've got fun Phil, you've got pissed Phil, you've got all this. So it's like he has to convince not only number 2, but all his inside personalities of number 2 that this is a good idea.
Well, they're all dead inside.
You're all dead to me.
But they are. They do nothing. I mean, that to me
Yeah.
was one of the funniest scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
They were
makes sense
robots.
because it's like they try or could maybe people want to think they have some sort of say, but at the end of the day, they don't.
And they're all. I mean, look at their outfits.
Yeah.
They're literally prisoners with top hats,
They are.
right? So how much more symbolic can you get?
Their arms
At
crossed.
some
Yeah,
point the show stops being symbolic and it's just so transparent what's going on. And this I feel was one of the episodes that was a bit more like, I don't have to think too hard. I get your message, McGoohan. This is good. I get
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, that's true. I would say that's true. Steph, any thoughts on the council's meeting?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like this show is so brilliant in the way that there's so much message. But even if you're like a clueless human being and you just purely want to watch the show for entertainment, it's entertaining.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people could watch this show and never think all these things that we're talking about, but then people will. You know, there's such, it kind of applies.
He raised the question in this scene. One of the great, like, what is what makes a human being quintessentially a human being? Is it the ability to think, to care, to cry, to love, blah blah? And so I don't know. In your mind, like, what makes a human?
All those things make up a fully functional human being.
Yeah, and for me, it's the choice to have all those things. You know what I mean? It's like you can't say one person's more human than another because one person cries at something and another person doesn't. It's because, I mean, they're capable of doing it, but they also have the choose. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, I don't know, we could argue that, you know, serial killers and rapists aren't human beings. You know?
And are you arguing they are?
No, I'm just
Is
saying.
that the argument?
No, I'm arguing, like, you know, are they human beings that got brainwashed and something went wrong? You know, there's the whole mentally ill. Like, there's so many things that to actually define a human being, I think, is I mean, besides the scientific, definition, but you know what I mean. I don't know. What do you think, Phil?
Well, let's talk science, because this Steph Z was brilliant in kind of coming up with the truth test, right? And we have a square and we have a circle, and what does it mean? And this was so weird, but go ahead, explain it.
Well, for me, I was watching it, and you see one and the other, and then what I took away from this, it's just, the square peg fitting in the round hole. Like, that's exactly what they're trying to do to this guy. And the fact that they went back and forth, and, I believe the square was supposed to be truth, and the ball was supposed to be when he was lying, but they went back and forth so much because...
That eventually, to me, it lost meaning. I was like, wait, which one's which again? What does it mean?
I mean, I was trying to, but it seemed like when he would... It seemed like they switched a little bit to what we knew was truth. But the fact that they ended at the same point in his, eye frame, in his head, it was just like, okay, square peg, round hole. They're just trying to fit him in. That's what I got.
And what it did was it tied nicely back to the first episode, Arrival, when, they always have the square peg circle test. Yeah. Very primitive, but in terms of telling what side you're on, guess it gets the job done, unless you're him.
Yeah, he's really, well, and this is one of those instances where he took control to confuse, he's like, I'm going to take control in what little way I can, and I will give mixed messages.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I don't think they bought it.
No, they didn't. It's so weird to see who's playing who. That's always the cat and mouse game.
Yes.
Well, but at the end of the day, it's like, do they know that? I mean, they have to know that he's trying to play them back.
I think
because they're always somewhat in
No,
control.
they're both aware, and both of them slip up. There are times that number 6 has his victories, and there are times that the village has its victory. And it's interesting when you have episodes where you think one has won, and the other actually ends up prevailing.
Well, this is,
Foreshadowing.
It's been no secret that chess is a big part of how this show is viewed, right?
Yeah, right.
And so the reason why, regardless of what order you have to watch them, with the exception of 1 and 16 and 17, the rest you can watch in whatever order you want. But those are the chess moves, and ultimately you have to get to checkmate. So we might lose we might lose a knight, we might lose a rook along the way, but we just got to keep the king.
Yeah.
And, each side has a king.
I kind of want the queen, too, because it kind of dominates.
Yeah, but here's the thing. In chess, I have no problem losing the queen if it will win me the game. And it seems like number 2 is the
if it'll
queen.
win you the game. But it is kind of funny how in this episode, it's like the king, you want to save the king, but the queen is somewhat more powerful.
I mean,
the queen, but the queen's always the most powerful piece on the board. So,
just like here.
Well, so if
just like here,
yeah. I mean, ultimately, it's number 58 who's number 2.
Oh yeah,
that's the way it was.
Which makes 60. Divided by 10, you get 6.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Steph Z.
And who's 10?
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
Okay, got it.
Wow.
All right. What did you guys think of? So after this brainwashing, he goes on the whole campaign of less work and more play. All you have to do is just give in, and we'll be good. And he's talking on the boat. We seem to be using this boat a lot.
Listen, they built that boat. They got to get their use out of it, okay?
This was a very hard scene for me to watch.
Because it was emotionally, devastating to you, or
the scene,
yes.
The boat. No, because the green screen or blue screen or whatever they used was so terrible. And I'm a big fan, and it was a really good fight scene. But whenever you saw his face front forward, it was like he was in the tropical world. And then when he was driving the boat, it was like the gloomy village. I couldn't. It very much distracts me. And in the other episodes where you guys, this is really like disjointed, that, I wasn't bothered so much. I wasn't bothered that they used the helicopter scene twice already. I wasn't bothered by that. But this scene, I was just like, come on.
It was a little okay. I mean, they're pioneering visual effects, technology here. I'm gonna say,
right.
I'm just
and
gonna give them that.
But through a television show. We're not doing a movie here.
But it is hard. It is hard.
Yeah.
It pulls you out of the scene. I'm with you.
No disrespect. I love the show. I love what they're trying to do. Like what they've done with technology and the things is
going
amazing.
back and watching Star Wars is something kind of painful. Okay.
Sure.
So I like. Okay, so going back real quick to the whole less work and more play. That's actually a very British thing. I wish I had gotten this rundown last night so I could have researched this.
I wish I could have done the
know,
rundown sooner.
So it's okay, but I just in the back of my head, and maybe one of our viewers can come and refresh my memory. There is another British publication, book, TV, movie series that deals with the whole less work, more play. Jack is a dull boy type theme, and it's hit over your head. And I wish I could remember where that comes from, because I'm like, I just remember this being so very British, especially in like a sci-fi work.
I certainly think, it's no secret, right? If you're trying to accomplish a lot of things and you don't take a step back every now and then, he says leisure is our right, and whatever else, that's his number one thing against number two. How can you do more if you have no leisure time? So you need to be able to step back to assess what's going on and almost rest, but in an active way.
Yeah. And
then you're able to come up with better new things. Because if you literally are just that, that's gear and everything, then you're just never gonna get off, and you're just gonna be that gear continually. You're not gonna grow to be a bigger gear.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate of that, and I feel like in Europe there are like, they take big lunch breaks. Like, there's a very different culture around work. And I'm not saying that, and what I am saying is I think they're just as productive. Like, I feel like here we think we need to be like working all the time in order to make the most money. And I don't agree with that. I do agree with you do have to step back. You got to work smart, not hard. I mean, like, there's something about hard work. Don't get me wrong. I'm a hard worker, whatever. But there's something about taking a step back to figure out the bigger plan to, work smarter. Yeah. And I feel like that's kind of...
It's funny you say that. A little bit of a tangent. There's actually a really great book called The 4-Hour Workweek that breaks down that kind of idea that you do need to work smarter, not harder. And I think Europe is definitely very on point with that. Because I know here it's so, and also today I made a huge blog post about how I'm going and going and going, and I have like 8 pokers in the fire, and I don't have any time to breathe or sleep, and it's overwhelming. And if you keep working super hard with no play, you're going to be a dull boy.
And I think to tie it back, I think
Phil's a dull boy.
Yeah. Well, but if you think about it, if you tie it back, like maybe that's why, because these people's brains aren't exhausted, maybe that's why they go to the pub and talk about politics and actually smart things rather than talking about stuff that just dumbs them down to make them feel like they're being entertained for some reason, because they don't want to think anymore, because they're just working all day long to try and live that American dream to pay the bills.
That's a good observation.
Absolutely. I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay,
I would
great.
agree with you.
Yeah.
Let's take a pub break.
In the Cat and Mouse Club, there's again no alcohol. But
Why do they hate alcohol so much? Can someone explain that to me?
Because
love
it's
alcohol.
happiness.
Take away all the happiness.
But in the therapy room, we got alcohol.
Yeah.
This was crazy to me, this scene.
Why so?
Because it was a little far-fetched for me. I loved it, but it was a little bit like, we're going to have this secret room where we can drink, and that you're allowed to do whatever you want, but then as long as you go back and make pretend you're still part of the village, you can come here. Like, it was just very...
But here's the thing. It's almost like, think of it like bribes, right? It's very much in that way of like, hey, listen, this is, you think it's this way, but guess what? You've been resisting us and whatever else. There is a good to all of this. There's perks to going along with the flow that you don't know, right? It'd be like almost, here's prostitutes, here's this, have fun, here's millions of dollars. But guess what? All you have to do, you're being so stubborn, just let go of your morals.
Right.
Just be part of the village, and then all of this, the money, the booze, the whores, it's all you.
But you don't have a choice not to be part of the village anyway.
Yeah.
So I read into it as they were trying to get him maybe drunk or poison him again.
Yeah.
So that he would tell them why he resigned and give them more information.
Got it. Yeah.
But I think that he kind of was smart enough maybe to know that. But I don't know, like I feel like it's different, like, you know, how you say like bring like hookers and prostitutes, stuff like that. Like that for me seems like it's got blackmail written all over it. And I didn't think blackmail when I was gone into this therapy room, but maybe there is some sort of, they want him to do something that they can hold against him.
Maybe.
I mean, because blackmail is a huge thing of politics.
Here's the thing: they ultimately just
dress.
want.
Yeah.
The whole point is we didn't get we didn't get it in this episode. The question of why did you resign? But they ultimately, no matter what, they want him to slip up in one way, shape, or form. ABC was all about that, kind of subconsciously getting him to slip up to say what the reason was, and the problem was that his consciousness entered his subconscious
Right.
and whatever else.
Yeah.
So that to me is what I think was going on, and everything else. And remember, he's not in the right state of mind. Although he was running, he's fighting here, right? There was a great comparison that I read to Philip K. Dick's Scanner Darkly, where an undercover cop plays a drug addict and whatever else, and he becomes so lost in this space, he doesn't know which one he is. And one of the great quotes, this is from the movie, so I don't know if it's exactly in the book, but I imagine it's in the book. What does the scanner see? Does it see into me clearly or darkly? I hope for everyone's sake the scanner see clearly, because I can no longer see into myself.
Right.
And the prisoner lost perspective in, I mean, how great was it to see him in front of his own TV reciting the lines that he just recited?
Yeah. I feel like, you know, something we kind of skipped over a little bit. I like this quote when he was like telling the people of the village, in your head, there must be remnants of a brain, which was very powerful to me in that how brainwashed they all are.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just wanted to
Point that out.
Yeah.
No, it's a good quote.
Yeah.
No, and I think the Skinner Darkly reference is really on point, because, you know, he got lost in himself. He got caught up in the game. You know, he tried to play it, and and that's the thing too, is like, and you see that in politics is, you know, a lot of times you have people with good intentions and good meanings, and when you're surrounded by a lot of not so good things, it's hard to keep fighting. And even if you're trying to fight the good fight, you might sometimes slip up and do the wrong thing for the right reasons, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it also is for me in politics how I do think that the people that run for election are good people. They want, you know, exactly what you're saying, but I also believe that whoever is elected is more so just a figurehead. It's not necessarily like they're responsible for everything that happens.
Yeah.
That's true, but it's also no coincidence that anyone, like, if I was let's say I got elected president, worst choice ever, but by the time I got done with it, even just a 4-year term, I would look like I'm 50.
Like Obama.
60.
I mean, have you look at Obama from start, like, campaigning to now? The man is many a gray hair and very tired, and it's not an easy life.
Yeah.
No, not by any means.
But even that, I feel like, you know, the reason why I brought that up was because I feel like people in the village are starting to see that number 6 wants his like, he's starting to more and more, the word is starting to spread, like, who's this guy trying to escape? Who's this guy trying to do this? So they know that if they do, quote unquote, elect him or make it seem that way, that it would be a good figurehead for the village, because they would think that they were maybe being run by this guy that believes in these theories that they don't know of.
But let's, in that sense too, right? When he comes to, right, she slaps him, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the rover worshippers and everything else. But from a purely perspective, right? Here he is. He's been on this platform through any kind of media, and he's got the ultimate media here, where he's speaking directly to them, and they don't listen.
No.
Right.
They just, you know, he can't mobilize these people to do anything. And he says, we're free, free for all, let's go, and nothing. He's the only one that
Are they all hearing him for sure, though?
I'm going to assume yes.
Yeah, because we saw the one scene of the speaker outside.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah, but they've been trained for so long to not listen.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, today's a great day.
Yeah.
The weather's great. Get your ice cream, and it's like, ooh, ice cream. Like, you got to throw in the keywords in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be like, free for all to get your ice cream. It's on the other side of the mountain.
Yeah.
Go get it.
Right. That'd be interesting.
They might fall. Yeah, but that's how sadly brainwashed these people are.
Yeah.
Much like culture. It's like, I mean, I just can't, like, the beating over the head with this message, and this is just It's too good.
What do you know, obviously a lot happened in a short amount of time in this scene. So what do you guys want to pick apart, whether it's the rover worship or anything else?
I love the like shot where he runs out and there, you see these guys lording over the rover, and I was like, are they technicians? Are they the ones that created Rover, or do they just bow down to Rover? Is Rover maybe Rover's number one?
Well, that was okay. Speaking of campaign promises, the number one thing was number one will no longer be a mystery to you. What? It's a bigger mystery than anything.
Yeah.
Steph, I mean, I know who number one is, Steph, but you speak to that because did you feel that campaign promise was fulfilled in any way, shape, or form?
But is that what he said? It said I don't think he said. Is that what he said? It will no longer be a mystery to you.
That's the exact quote.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay. Yeah, it made me feel like that you're number one.
Okay, that's what you got out of it.
Well, it's like number one, and that I think maybe played into all the ABCs of two, like all the different people that you go through. But I feel like if it wouldn't be a mystery to you, like I don't know, maybe I'm so wrong, but I don't know that you'll know number one because he's gonna be the person on the other end of the red phone. Like I don't know if I buy that.
Yeah, like you'll know him on a.
Yeah.
No,
but it's more so like you're gonna, like you're gonna figure it out. But they're like dangling this carrot in front of him because he's really never gonna be number two. So it's like you'll figure it out, but you're not gonna figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, but I just think you're on the right path. I think you're good. I like your thinking, lady.
Keep thinking.
Yeah.
And when you're done thinking, rethinking it over because it could be wrong.
Aw.
Okay. It could be.
All right. Anything else?
I don't know. Maybe number two is like two number ones. It's like number one in the village and number one in the real world, and you combine those and you get number two.
Okay. Maybe it's an alien overlord.
Or maybe
I just
it's
want
an
a
alien,
math
or it's
problem.
Rover.
I mean, here's the thing. We certainly got an eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all we got, if, we got this little light thing and whatever else. And so everything that we've seen is from a third person perspective. You could say that's because in order to film something, it has to be, you can't really have a whole show from first person's perspective. But you could say it's because it's alien overlords.
I don't know that I go to alien overlords, but I'm with
Yeah,
you.
that's a little much.
And talking about Rover, how many Rovers are there?
6,000 were made for production, if that's what you're
Are
asking.
you serious?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a lot of work.
No, I wasn't really asking that. But you always see like one going out to get them and then like a couple taking them back.
Well, there's apparently 6,000.
Yeah.
They're all
Holy
there.
It's
cow.
like Rover. There's like Rover babies.
They're,
Well, yeah, remember
6,000. I want a Rover.
I know there should be some in
Make
existence.
that happen, somebody.
They
Please,
all-
six,
most of
six
them
of
pop.
one.
We should have it. Why don't we have like a Rover, like
know,
just a
just
white
hanging out
yoga
right
ball
here.
hanging out there
Oh my god, can we bring one next week?
next week.
Okay, before
in the
we
middle
wrap
of the
up,
show? Just
well, anything else? We need to discuss 58.
Okay, let's discuss
Okay,
58.
the
yes.
real power behind everything. The man in the shadows pulling the strings, because they made her out to be a sock puppet. At the end, we find out she's the real number two, or at least the next number two, if nothing else. And I loved that twist. I really feel that, and especially making it a woman was just an extra nice thing, because there's that like, longstanding history that, because women have been subjugated for thousands of years, but there's, in politics and stories of old to modern times, there's always that woman, be it the mistress or the queen in the background, who's really pulling the strings. And I thought that was a nice little nod to that.
I thought so too, and she's everything
Yeah.
came off in the end, and she, as she says, will you never learn? And this is just the beginning. Which again makes me think that, this was supposed to be episode number 2.
Yeah, exactly.
But we're still at the beginning.
I get. Yeah, we're still 4 out of 17 is still
Yeah,
quote
we're-
unquote,
Yeah.
beginning.
Even 4 out of 10.
But yeah, for all this to happen, like looking back, if all this would have happened in the second episode, like the first episode was like when you saw the Snow White girl and, you thought, like for me, and
Yeah.
it's like, then you would see this happen. Like, no way. I don't buy it at all.
Fair enough. What do you guys think of in last episode? he sort of gained some optimism, right? He kind of got a small victory, and then in this episode, his optimism is completely crushed.
That's what I was saying earlier, is that you get these push and pull victories. You get, a little bit here, but then ultimately it's taken away. I mean, this is the first person, this number 2, crushed him.
Yeah.
He is not, we haven't seen his spirit truly crushed.
And it is by a female.
And it is by a female, which, yeah. So I think it's going to be interesting to see next episode who's going to end up in the place of power at the end.
Absolutely.
And how he's going to come respond
Well, but if
to
you
it.
think about it, last episode that we watched, number 19, is that right? Number 14.
Yeah.
Number 14 kind of crushed him in the way that took him over. So I don't know, is it really the first?
Well, I think this is a little bit more like, I mean, even that being said, the episode where he thought he escaped and he didn't. I mean, he kind of has these little, this was just I don't know, this felt soul crushing.
Yeah.
In a way, because he himself had changed so much, and he had started to drink the Kool-Aid a little, and then to just have it all shattered. Because I don't know, at some point, when this is your future, this is your life, maybe drinking that Kool-Aid isn't such a bad thing, because at least you can be happy.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because I thought when he snapped out of the truth, square peg and round hole thing, I felt like he seemed more upbeat. This is the only time. And he was talking quicker, and he was like almost talking like what I would think a politician would talk
It
like.
was very fervored.
Yeah, and then he was like a little bit less stiff. And then he goes into like stealing the maid's car and doing all this crazy stuff, but then he gets way stiff again. I know we're
No. So let's do a fun kind of thing, right? We have a couple of pictures. Order really doesn't ultimately matter. So Lexus, feel free to pick and choose. Okay, so
All
let's
right.
let's start with this one, right? So we'll bring up full screen for you viewers. If you're listening, there's a link included as part of the description where you can download all the pictures we ever look at, so you can see with us. And so we're looking at this picture, and it's a comparison of the political parties from 1955 to 1966 in Britain. And I can't see for the full details, but look at that. That's a huge shift. We got some. We got if nothing else, it indicates that it's divided, right? In 1955, it seems like for the most part, everyone agreed on the same sort of political party, not necessarily the same views. And then in 1966, it all went to hell.
Well, you have 55, which is less than a decade after World War II, and then you have 20 years later, which it's you're gonna have that spike of nationalism right after such a world upheaval, and then 20 years you've got a new generation coming into place with different thoughts and ideas. So I mean that it's I'm not going to be like, oh, there's nothing to talk about, but I'm just saying it kind of makes sense. You have a new generation coming into power, and they want to exert their hand on things.
It's a really good visual to show that though, but yeah, I agree that it
Absolutely. No, that's a great conclusion. All right, there's a couple of other pictures. One of them is Steph C's that she brought up. Here we go. This is Steph C's. So we're gonna bring up full screen for you in a minute. Here we go. So it says it's a picture. Stop interfering with my freedom of speech. And Steph C, take it away because it's yours.
Well, I just feel like this is, I mean, look at the little guy that's falling over from it. It's just very, and what was interesting to me too was the little guy that's falling over from it seems to be dressed more casual than the guy in the suit saying it, and the suit sometimes.
So the suit has a big megaphone, and the casual guy has a small megaphone, and the big megaphone is just, it acts like a wind.
Stop interfering with my freedom of speech, but normally the people that interfere with the freedom of speech are the suits. So to me, it just played on it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, maybe I'm looking a little bit too much into it, but that is, just very, a loud, we want to be able to talk about what we want to be able to talk about.
I definitely agree with you. It's the little guy, the blue collar worker doesn't have as much to say as the the politician or the businessman or the 1%er. And I don't know when this particular cartoon came out.
Either.
But I mean, it is, and it also, I like that it speaks to that he who screams the loudest will be heard the most versus he who has the best ideas will be heard the most.
Right.
And those who have the platform and everything else.
Right. So freedom of speech is kind of like horse crap.
Yeah.
It's just who gets heard.
It's true.
Listen to Mortal Technique. There's a great song, Freedom of Speech.
Yeah. Also, real quick, for those watching, if you saw me having a minor seizure, that was actually me killing a fly, or actually a mosquito. So if you saw me like, because you guys were talking and I was like, and then I clapped, I just wanted to clear that
We're
up.
bugged in here.
I killed
So
it.
whatever, quote unquote, bug
Well, I just
was in the
killed
room.
number 2. I got it. You won't be seeing me.
All right, Alexis, let's bring up another picture.
Oh.
Okay.
Is that Mariah Carey?
This is Mariah Carey, yes. So the picture we have is Mariah Carey, Vote or Die. And I wanted to bring up Paris Hilton, but
Oh my
whatever.
God.
Here's the
Works.
thing. There were so many celebrities
Yeah.
with this shirt, Vote or Die. And the reason why I wanted to bring up Paris Hilton in particular, because a couple things are at play here. She didn't end up voting.
No.
Number 1, should she actually die? Number 2, it's one of those things. I personally believe, yes, having the right to vote is great. Not everyone should vote.
No.
Not every. Again, I feel like there are many things in this world that we should have to take some sort of IQ test. Voting, driving a car,
Having children.
having children. There are certain things. No, I mean, I don't know. It's such a sticky topic. Yes, I guess everyone should have the right to vote. Like, you want to say that and you want to have that. But in order to, I think everyone should have the right to vote. So everyone has the right, but in order to do it, you have to put in a certain amount of time or take a vote. Like, how many people would vote if actually, in order, you were allowed to vote? Everybody was allowed to vote. But in order to cast that vote, you had to go through a 3-hour process and sit there and hear about people's views
Yeah.
on both sides. How many people would actually take the time out to do that to vote?
No, I agree.
It's uneducated
Yeah,
people
but-
voting with their heart, or voting because, this one. There's things in our elections that have to do with like abortion or gay rights, or these things that have no foreign policy. You know what I mean? Like government foreign policy. That's what should be talked about. And yes, I guess like the government, like I get healthcare and stuff like that, but as far as preferences and as far like some of the things that people get so attached to and that's how they pick their president are irrelevant to what makes our country work as a whole monetarily, which kind of is what the government is set up to do.
Yeah. Well, yes, I think that's a good point. I just want to address real quick the whole concept of vote or die. Like the whole I get it's our given right to do this. This is in the Constitution. We all have the ability to vote now, thankfully. But vote or die is such a strong message. It's so like in your face. And this was the liberal camp. Like normally you don't, it's just why do you have to make it about like it's so harsh. It's so it bothered me when I saw this campaign first came out. It made me really uncomfortable as a voter because it's just it's too much. It's not
Because if you're not participating,
Yeah.
there's something wrong with you.
exactly. It's forcing you to be part of the system. And
for me, it's just, honestly, this is the first time I've ever seen this picture. So maybe I live under a rock. But it just makes me angry. Because how much, and you know what? I get it. Some celebrities do their research. Some celebrities are very smart when it comes to politics, and they use their celebrity or their fame to talk about things that are important. I understand that. I'm not trying
You're
to
saying
take
this was a money opportunity.
oh my God, yes. Look at how she. I'm sorry, but this is
That is a
sexualized.
good-looking woman,
She
right?
is a great looking woman, and she's very she's fit. She looks great.
makes
Someone
me
put some
angry.
Photoshop work in there.
Oh my God, it's just. Also, she's
No
tanned
offense to
really
Mariah Carey.
well for this. This makes me uncomfortable. This is selling me a product, not a mission statement.
There you go. I would agree. I 100% agree.
It's just like that sums up to me. Like there's so many reasons why that is wrong that attribute to what is wrong with our society and what is wrong with our government that is summed up in that
Yeah.
photograph.
Very good. Well, like every good politics show and whatever else, we've talked about many issues and come to no conclusions or solutions. Some we did.
Real quick though,
yes.
can we during next year's election cycle, can we actually have an AfterBuzz after
Yes!
debate show?
Yes.
I will
And
not-
we're doing it.
I'm
right
not doing
now.
it.
We are. Well, we need someone else to go against our views too.
Yeah.
So, but
We
yeah,
need
can
a
we
Phil.
arrange that? We do need a film.
All right, but to be fair, if I pick a timid
There is no
person, you
fair.
guys have to be have to give them their own megaphone.
No,
Oh,
you can't
see-
pick a timid person. That's the thing.
That would be the
I
opposite
blow
of you
hard.
guys.
No, I like that because I feel like, again, that's a lot of the problem with our society and the debates. It's like people don't hear each other. I don't think I'm right in everything I say by no means. And I would love to have somebody to debate with that actually enlighten me with something I didn't think about or thought about it a different way, because it'll only make my opinion better. Like, I feel like that's the problem. So many people, and again with technology, all this stuff are just stuck in their way or no way, which then you don't grow as a society. Like this picture, I never saw that picture before. And now I'm seeing it and we talk about it.
So there's the only real problem with political jokes
Feels
is
like
they
shut
get
up.
elected.
Oh, that's so good.
So-
We should end on that note.
Yes. So
Because I apparently have people waiting at my place now. Whoops.
perfect. All right. So we've got campaigns to take on.
my
So thank you
gosh.
guys for joining us yet
Steph
again.
Z
on
for president.
Yeah.
Steph Z. I am Steph Z on Twitter.
Yes, you guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at IAMSTEFZ. Tell me what you think.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Meredith Placco, what's your platform of choice?
At MPLACKO on Twitter and Instagram. And please, I love a good debate. I won't shy away from it, and I will never shut you down unless you're racist. Then you can't talk to me.
That's right. And, of course, we'll be back with another episode next week. Schizoid Man, episode 5. So we'll have fun talking about that one. And please continue the conversation, things like that. Spread the word of this. I was going to make a Fallout joke because of spread the word, but
that's
I don't want to
good.
do it because it would be a spoiler.
Okay.
Don't tell me.
Anyway,
All right.
we'll see you here. Be seeing you.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.